Welcome to Health Activators with lifestyle medicine doctor, GP and longevity expert Dr. Alka Patel. This show will help you to discover a hidden health hacking code that unlocks your phenomenal potential for an outstanding health span, lifespan and wealth span. The show features candid conversations with celebrities, influencers and industry icons, real-life stories and cutting-edge health activating advice that other doctors might not tell you. Discover why now is the time to join the strategic self-care revolution and experience the profound effects this will have on your personal and professional success. Now, here is your host, Dr. Alka Patel.
Before we get into today's show, please do support today's show partner, Youth and Earth. Youth and Earth have a range of products that I love to use myself to supercharge my metabolism, to support my health, and to slow down cellular aging. Just be sure you click the link in the show notes for exclusive offers, which Youth and Earth are so generously giving for listeners of this show. Hi, hey, and hello, health activators. Eat clean, bad for you, cheat treat. What do you feel when you hear those words? The language of food, it's so filled with judgment and morals that affect your relationships with food. So today I'm going to be talking about how to eat your words. I'm going to be exploring the language of food and how it affects your relationship with what you eat and how you eat. So whenever we talk to anyone, we know that the language that we choose can have a significant effect on the message that we convey. And guess what? The language that we use around food, well, it's no different. So have you ever heard anyone say, I'm eating clean? Or heard anyone talk about cake as a guilty pleasure? But what happens because of the messaging and the moral values that we attach to food through our language? Well, today I want to explore that. I want to explain how diet culture seeps into our everyday lives through language and how it influences our food choices and our feelings around food. Diet culture. What is it? Well, it's something that we're constantly exposed to. It's predominantly something that revolves around dieting and pursuing weight loss. But I'm also now seeing this creeping into eating for health, not directly in relation to weight itself. We see diet culture on food packaging, in advertising, and it even creeps into our very casual conversations. Words like guilt-free, they're very cleverly used in marketing that then leads us to believe that eating, well, it's something we should feel guilty about. And there's lots and lots of examples of this. Now, one term that's gained popularity is clean eating. Now, on the surface, when you hear this, it might seem like it's a dedication to a healthy lifestyle, but it can lead to an unhealthy obsession with things like minimally processed foods and a very restrictive diet. And the term itself can be quite judgmental and exclusive. So yes, processed foods, they are not supportive of your body's functional needs, not as supportive as perhaps whole foods, but adding a judgment to them then distorts their place, and they do have a place. Now, I like to think of food as having three important roles: food for fuel, function, and fun. Yes. And look, while of course you can still have fun eating less processed foods, cakes and crisps can also be part of our celebratory foods that connect us socially, that we associate with memories of childhood birthdays. And yes, of course, then eating clean also implies that some foods are dirty or unhygienic, which is not true. And here's another one: empty calories. Heard that? The notion that calories can be completely devoid of all nutrients is a misconception. Every calorie provides us with energy. That is what a calorie is. It's a unit of energy, and energy is your life source. So a calorie cannot possibly be empty, albeit, of course, that some calories are less nutritious than others. What about skinny products? A skinny latte. What does this do? Well, this implies that skinny is what we should be striving for, which is not a healthy mindset at all. Plus, labeling then food as good or bad implies that food has the ability to influence our moral principles, which in itself then is a problematic perspective. And there are many, many more terms like guilty pleasure, junk food, cheat meals, treats, and detox that really further reinforce this diet culture mindset. Now, detox, that is an interesting one. Detoxification, well, it's really a medical, metabolic term for the detoxification pathways in our liver that carry out oxidation, reduction, and hydrolysis. And yes, there are ways that we can then support these pathways. So for my clients, I test their natural detoxification pathways, how their liver is functioning, what toxins they're being exposed to and are building up. And then we specifically target ways to optimize detoxification, your detoxification pathways. But again, what has mainstream media and social media done? It's taken the term and it's popularized it with words like a detox cleanse. Now, look, the key here is to be aware of the language that we use and that we use loosely and how using it loosely impacts on our feelings about food. Seeing food as a toxin, which of course it isn't, can have a very significant impact on your relationship with food. Our food language matters, and it has the power to shape our food choices and our attitudes towards food. So there's research, for example, that shows that associating foods with guilt can harm our relationship with food. So for example, a study looked at eating chocolate cake. And what it found was that for those people who associated eating chocolate cake with a celebration, they had a much more positive attitude towards eating healthily than those who associated eating chocolate cake with guilt. It's incredible, isn't it, how language can have such a profound effect. And remember, it's not just adults. The way we talk about food also impacts children's relationships with food and their bodies. So as parents or caregivers, of course, we play a very crucial role in shaping our children's behavior, including their eating behaviors. And even for yourself, just think about it. Just using terms like bad, naughty, or guilty to describe certain foods can create feelings of shame or guilt around eating. And this then, what does this do? Well, it leads to a cycle of restriction and overeating, which is not conducive to a healthy relationship with food. It's a deprivation mindset. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. You eat one chunk of chocolate and then you think, well, that's it then. Might as well eat the whole block now. I'll start that diet tomorrow. Or maybe you think, I'll eat everything I want to today and then I won't tomorrow. I won't let myself eat tomorrow. It's that inner chatter that creates this yo-yo cycle that we see so much in relation to restricting food. So remember, food is not good or bad for you, and you are not good or bad for eating it. So what can we do to change our food language for the better? Well, the first step is to try and be as neutral as possible. Try to stop categorizing foods into good or bad, clean or dirty. And instead, well, let's focus on describing foods without attaching moral value. Now, I've recently discovered the Alka app. It's an app that lets you scan your foods and household products and cosmetics as well. And it then tells you what's in them and potentially what's in them that could be harming you or helping you, including things like additives and preservatives. Now, it does use scores, numbers out of 10 and out of 100, and it uses red, yellow, green traffic light symbols, and it uses words like low risk or high risk. So there's a bit of a dichotomy here because on the one hand, understanding what you're eating and what's in it, I believe, is very important so that you can then make informed choices about what you choose to let pass your lips. But on the other hand, directly labeling something as good or poor will then affect your relationship with that particular food, which might then take away from how you connect with food for fuel, function, and fun. But app aside, when you're talking about food, Think about how you can use your experience of food with words like satisfying or pleasurable or delicious to replace terms like naughty or guilty pleasure. Now, it might take some time to change these habits, but the important thing is to become aware of the type of language that we use. So zone into your five senses when you eat. Eat mindfully. How does food taste, smell, feel, sound, look? Use that to describe your experience and your relationship with food. That crunch in your mouth, the taste that fills your mouth. Now, I've just done a 5-day fast, principally to trigger my longevity pathways, and I'm sure I'll be talking about that in more detail in future episodes or in a blog. But the one thing that I wanted to highlight today, the one thing that I missed about not eating was taste, that feeling in my mouth. I wasn't hungry for those 5 days. My liver and my hormones took complete care of that for me. But I did yearn to savor the taste of food in my mouth. So look, what's important is appreciating food for what it is without attaching moral value to it. So next time you're enjoying a meal, just try and describe it without using terms like good or bad, and instead focus on the experience and the sensory pleasure of eating it. It's important to shift away from this black and white thinking of food as good or bad, clean or dirty, and adopt a more neutral and positive approach to food, describing food based on its flavor or its texture and the experience that it brings. And look, this isn't about dismissing the fact that some foods are more nutritious than others. Some foods are more helpful to you. Of course they are. But it's about finding what connects with you and allowing yourself to experience food for the fuel, function, and fun that it brings. So just shifting gears a little bit then, love. Love is the language of the universe, and expressing love comes in many forms. One way to do that is through food. Food allows us to share not only nourishment, but also emotions and experiences and connections. Whether it's a home-cooked meal that you share with your family or a special occasion, food really does have this very unique ability to just bring people together and create meaningful moments. And it's not just about the physical act of eating, it's about the care and the effort that goes into preparing a meal, the joy of sharing it with others, and the memories that are created around the table. Food provides comfort, and it's not only about feeding our bodies, it's about feeding our souls and finding solace in the familiar flavors of our favorite dishes. And let's not also forget about the power of food as a gift. The exchange of food, it's a way of showing love and care. It exists in so many cultures and so many traditions. It's this very tangible expression of our affection. Seeing someone that we care about enjoy a meal that we've prepared is incredibly rewarding. It's just a way of saying, I care about you and I want to nourish and delight you. This language of food, it is so far-reaching. So how are you going to eat your words? Can you start talking about food without a moral tag attached to it? What words will you start using today? What word swaps will you make? Well, try some of these. Swap out words like cheat day, bad, toxic, addictive, junk, clean, reward, allowed, for words like delicious, satisfying, enjoyable, tasty, filling, fresh, savour. See you all next week, and I wish you a health activating day.